All right, now I can share my desktop. And drag this over here first.
Steve.
All right. Well, welcome you guys. I'm really excited. This is the second round of this program. So I have made some adjustments, and the first round was awesome. People saw really great results and got a lot of feedback from it, which was really great. So we have updated it and hopefully made it even more fun and informational for you. And at the end of this, I'm probably going to, at the end of the 8 weeks, I'm probably going to ask all of you for feedback as well so that I can just continue to improve it. So today we're just briefly going to cover who I am, because I know some of you know me and some of you don't. Really quickly, like what we're going to cover over the 8 weeks. We're just going to touch on a couple things that pop out. Talking about setting our intentions, our mentality, applying the program, and then at the end, if any of you guys have questions, we're going to cover that. So I wanted to introduce myself and just say, let you guys know a little bit about who I am.
You texted me.
In my health journey. So when I was in college, I gained a lot of weight, and that bottom left picture there, you see that was me in like 2007. And I was basically eating whatever I wanted. So I would eat Teddy Grahams and ice cream. And one of my favorite things to do in the middle of the day at school was to get a Pepsi and a Snickers bar from the vending machine. So I like that particular combination of sugar, 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 and it showed. And so throughout my life since then, I ended up struggling with a lot of issues, including hormone imbalance that was fairly extreme, bloating, rosacea, extreme fatigue, which is one of the first symptoms that really set me on my journey to figure out what was going on with my body. Really, really bad PMS to the point where I'm like on the floor texting people to just put me out of my misery because I was in so much pain. So I've really kind of gone through quite a few different things in regards to my body and my overall health that prompted me to kind of get onto the health journey. And I know some of the people that are in this Get Gutsy group have autoimmune diseases and other reasons that they're really, really motivated to focus on their health. So I'm really excited about that because I can personally share from my own experience how taking certain steps in my life has really tremendously reversed things and helped me and given me energy and just overall wellness. And that's my almost 14-year-old stepson there, Keegan, at the top, and my husband and my dog on the right. So I have a fun little family. And so that's just a little bit about me. The Tiny Fit Diva came about just because I'm really short. And I was an opera singer before this. So I actually left my master's degree to pursue coaching. And then because of my own health journey and hormone issues, I started looking into figuring out more about how my body works. That eventually led me to FDN, Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, and the functional lab testing and all of that to see what's actually going on with my body. And so that brings me here today to being an FDN and a coach and a trainer and doing these online groups. So what we're going to do over the next 8 weeks. Week 1, we are going to talk about the program overview. You're going to get like a daily schedule that you can print out and just maybe stick on your fridge or in the front of your binder as sort of like a reminder of some key things that we want to incorporate throughout our days. We're going to talk about understanding food sensitivities, so what they are, what does it mean, where do they come from, what's going on in your body that actually causes those reactions. You're going to receive some detox tools. So on Sunday, you guys are going to receive your first ebook in an email, and the ebooks are 2 weeks at a time. So it's for week 1 and week 2. And then in there, you'll get a lot of information that you can read through, and it'll include some fun detox tools, and they're pretty easy to incorporate and implement as well. And then week 2, we're going to talk about probiotics, and I'll share some guidelines, some suggestions, where you can purchase certain brands, what my favorite are. And I have several that I really like, so I'll share those with you as well as where you can get them, and also like how often to rotate through them and things like that. We'll also cover gut health foods, like what foods are really beneficial to incorporate into your diet and why they help you have better health. And then we're going to talk about like meal tips. So, for just as an example, some people that really struggle with their gut health may want to go less meat. I'm not encouraging necessarily that, you go vegan or vegetarian or anything like that. But in situations where you're really struggling with breaking foods down, that may be difficult for some people to break protein down. So that's just an example of some of the things we'll talk about there when we're talking about meal tips. In week 3 and 4, we're going to talk about balancing your plate. Everybody is obsessed with different diets and counting macronutrients and weighing their food and counting their calories and all that kind of stuff. And where do we start? So we're going to talk about how to figure this out for you, for your body, for what's right for you. I don't know how many of you have followed me or listened to my podcast or read my blogs for a while, but what I promote is nutrition. So that's individual nutrition for you, for your body, because it's unique. It's different for everybody. There's no one diet plan. There's no one macro plan. There's no specific one thing that I can hand to every single person in this group that's going to be right for. So I'm going to help you kind of navigate that. And then we're going to talk a lot about poop that week. So it was fun in our first group. We were getting super personal with each other, and I get all these questions about it, and I do live Q&As at least once a week. And so we're going to kind of talk about, like, what does that mean? What is it telling you about your body? How to look at it? It's actually a great kind of self-diagnostic tool, which is kind of nice. So it's an easy one to incorporate. Week 4, we're going to talk about supporting your liver. So what foods and supplements maybe help your liver. It's your largest natural detoxification organ in your body. It does a lot of work for you, but we want to make sure in our society, with all of the things that it's being exposed to today, that we're supporting it as much as we can. So we're going to talk about that in week 4. We're going to talk about grains and things like that, and we'll talk about maybe some basic supplementation that anyone can incorporate. Then in week 5, I call it my woo-woo week. We talk about some fun things like movement and self-care and meditation and just fun things like that, and yoga and all that good stuff. So it's kind of a chill week or woo-woo week, however you guys kind of think about it. I used to so totally 100% not be into this stuff, and now it's literally my whole life. So that's a fun week. It's one where you get really encouraged to focus on self-care, which is always nice because a lot of times women don't do that. They don't prioritize it. Week 6, we're going to talk a lot about stress. So 80 to 90% of doctor's visits in the United States today are because of stress-related issues. So it's really key. It's really important that we learn about stress, that we learn about de-stressing, like we'll learn about in week 5, and how to take care of ourselves, because ultimately what happens is that breaks down our body and causes a lot of the issues. It ends up, when you look back at it and you look back at your life, stress tends to be the underlying root cause, kind of the trigger, so to speak, for a lot of the issues that we experience. And then we're also going to touch on hormones and autoimmunity. Like I said, I know a lot of people struggle with autoimmunity. I'm actually getting an autoimmunity protocol certification myself, so I can help lead people through the protocol. I've done it before in terms of working with a client with the AIP protocol. But the certification obviously is going to give me more credibility. It's going to cover a lot more information than just me figuring it out on my own. So I'm really excited about that certification. That actually starts Monday. But we're going to touch on autoimmunity in week 6 and what is it, why does it happen in the body, and what things can we do to reverse, help, heal, that sort of thing. So we're going to touch on that in week 6. Week 7, we're going to talk about all the fun stuff like snacking, budgeting, and traveling. So we're starting to wrap up in week 7, where we want to make it a lifestyle. We want to make it something that people are able to incorporate into your everyday life and not necessarily need the group going forward. The group is super helpful, but we want to know, I want to give you the tools so that you can really implement this and make this part of your permanent lifestyle. And then week 8, again, we're going to continue talking about how you can create this into your own life, what adjustments do you need to make, and what mentality should you have going forward. So in terms of following the actual program, It is, it's pretty easy to follow. I give you everything that you need. I try to make it as easy as possible. You do get a weekly meal plan. You have the meal guides already in there. If you haven't already printed them out, go ahead and do that. But I do give you a weekly guide that comes with a shopping list. So if you're somebody that's like, please just tell me what to do, you have all of the information there, and you can literally just follow step by step by step. If you're somebody that wants a little more flexibility, though, we're going to talk about that in a minute, so that you can use this program flexible to be a little more flexible in your life, and that's okay too, however you choose to use it. But there's enough information that hopefully everybody can find what's right for them. So it is easy to follow, or I've tried to make it easy to follow. The one thing is there's a ton of information, okay? So you're going to get these ebooks. You're going to have posts on the Facebook. I'm going to go do live video once or twice a week in there. So there's just going to be like a lot coming at you. So that's the one thing I would say is just to prioritize checking in, and maybe set aside a time once a day or a couple times a week where you can kind of go through the information. So maybe on Saturday or maybe on Sundays when you get the email at 9 o'clock, maybe you print off that, and then you sort of read through the ebook for that week during the week, that sort of thing. Hey, Sammy. Sammy, I can't play out. Sammy, if you can mute your phone, I can hear the kiddos in the background. That's my niece and nephew there.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Evie. All right, so, all right, the other thing I highly, highly, highly encourage you guys to do is to,
Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's not them.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, I was hearing that too. I don't know who it is.
Oh, I thought it was Evie and Nat.
Sorry.
Well, whoever has kids in the background, go ahead and mute your phone. So, okay. I would highly recommend that everybody get a binder and print out the information. Again, it's a lot of information, but it's much easier to go through when it's all in the same place. Particularly for anyone, everybody should do this, but particularly if you are somebody that is also getting the functional lab testing upgrades. So that way you can have all of the information, all of the recipes, as well as all of your test results and any notes that you take throughout the process. And that way you can kind of put it all together in the binder. This will not only help you throughout the program, but it will be a nice resource that you can pull from later on. Because a lot of people, as they go through this 8 weeks, like I keep saying, it's a ton of information. So you may not implement everything the week that we introduce it. You might, need a few weeks to kind of absorb something or to think about it, or maybe you order a supplement, doesn't come in for a couple weeks, that sort of thing. So to have it in a binder and be like, okay, where am I at, and check things off, and oh yeah, she said this and I haven't implemented it yet. Or at the end of the program, you can go back and kind of review and see what next steps you can take based on that. Because everybody's gonna be different. For some people, this is just a next step. But for some people, this is the first step. So wherever you are, you're going to be able to use this program, and keeping it all in one place is just going to be helpful. There is a food diary. I believe you guys got that on Friday in the email. So make sure you have that printed out. You want to use it every day. And the things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to write down your food every day so that you know and you can keep track of a couple things. And this is why I want you, maybe if you're taking notes, I want you to keep track of your sleep, your mood, your energy levels, and your poop. And those are the 4 things that I want you to look at. And so if you're going to keep your food journal at night, you're going to write all of your food down. And then next to it, you're going to go, you can do your own rating system. If you want to do 1 to 10, you're going to go, sleep was a 10 last night. My mood was an 8 today. My energy, oh, that wasn't so good. It was like a 2 today. And my poo wasn't so good. It was like a 2 as well. However you want to do the scale, that you're going to be able to keep track of it. But what that's going to allow you to do is you're going to be able to go back after a week and be like, okay, on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my energy wasn't as good. So what did I eat the day before? And what did I eat that day? And you'll be able to start making correlations for things that may not be as beneficial for you. And this is something that takes time. So just being consistent with that is very helpful. Okay, in the Facebook group, we talked about setting your intentions. So we talked about why did you invest in the program? What do you hope to learn in the program, and what results you hope to achieve? So I love seeing everyone's answers. It's so cool. There's so much variety, and different bodies, different life histories, different struggles that people have had that are, reasons to be in this group. So I want you to take those reasons that you either shared or maybe you thought about them, but you didn't share. And I want you to go ahead and write them down. We talked about the difference between people that have actual written goals. So I want you to actually take those and I want you to write them down. I want you to put them either on your mirror, your bathroom mirror where you can see them in the morning, or on your refrigerator, wherever, or maybe even in your car, anywhere that you're going to see them on a regular basis, every single day. And then I also want you to include, and it'd be great if this was handwritten, I also want you to include your commitment must equal your goals, and don't let your mood shift your commitment, because that's so important. And we're so excited during weeks 1, 2, and 3, but I see it all the time, weeks 4, 5, 6, and by 8, people have dropped off the face of the earth. And it's just because life gets in the way and your mood shifts, and it just gets hard, and we allow it to get hard. So we can't let our mood and our life dictate what we want to get out of it. We dictate it. We choose what we want to put in, and we make a commitment. So we want to make sure that that's a reminder in front of us every single day. So having that why, having that reason that you're in the program in front of you with the reminder not to shift your mood is going to be really important too. So make sure you have those written down somewhere that you can see them. I just really quickly wanted to share with you my goals, my intentions for this group. This is what I want for you guys to get out of it. I want to be able to give you guys the tools you need to reduce stress. Like we talked about, stress is absolutely one of the most critical things that we need to work on when we're talking about our health. It's a pillar that without it, I'm not sure we can really solve the problem. You can take all the supplements in the world, you can eat the best food in the world, you can exercise, you can do all these things. If you are chronically stressed and you're not making an effort to reduce the stress in your life, it's a problem. So I want to make sure that we talk about that, and I want to make sure that we reduce that, okay? I want to make sure that we reduce inflammation. So we're talking about everything that we're going to talk about in terms of nutrition. The goal with this is to have an anti-inflammatory diet, a diet that actually gives you the micronutrients that you need and that does not cause inflammation in your gut, in your brain, and in your body systematically. So we want to make sure that reduce inflammation, that we're eating the right foods for our body. Obviously, next one, learn what foods work for your body. So we're going to talk about elimination diets. We're going to talk about food sensitivities. We're going to take that food journal and all that fun stuff so that you can take it yourself, take the information that I'm providing, and then apply it to your life and kind of figure out, okay, what foods am I having reactions to and why? And maybe I need to eliminate this for a period of time. Or I eliminated this and I noticed ... I have so much more energy, or I have this, or I have that. And the ultimate goal really is to find a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. So every single person at the end of this 8 weeks is probably going to have a different takeaway. One person may say they found a sensitivity to eggs. One person might say, oh my gosh, the minute I cut dairy out, that was a game changer for me. And somebody else might be like, yeah, it didn't make a difference for me. One person might say, I had my nutrition completely perfect before I came into this group, but talking about stress and learning how to incorporate detox tools and supplementations, that's what it was for me. So we really want to just figure out what's sustainable for you, what works for you, and what's going to click for you. Okay, so there's going to be different takeaways for everybody. I also really want you guys to find healthy meals that you and your family love. So it's always my goal when I work with people on nutrition to make it fun. So I never want people to think, oh, healthy eating's got to taste like cardboard. I have to portion control everything. It's not going to taste good. It's bland. My family just loves the way we eat. My husband he says that all the time. He's like, when people talk about how bad, healthy eating is, it's annoying because I think the food that I eat is really good. And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? It's so delicious. But I know that sometimes it can be a struggle with families. So I want to make sure that you guys have resources, have healthy meals that your family love. And throughout this process, if it's something that you guys have questions about, or you're like, oh my gosh, this is my husband's favorite meal, can we maybe find a substitute? I want to help you find resources, and just feel free to post questions like that in here. But one of the nice things about the meal guides that you have is you automatically have a ton of recipes that are new that you can try, that hopefully within that you're going to find some extra ones that you really enjoy. And then beyond that, throughout the course of the next couple months, I'm going to be sharing bonus recipes in the group as well. So hopefully you'll get a lot of information there. All right. Obviously, one of the biggest goals is to have a healthy gut, right? So I'm really hoping that for most of you, you see good improvement in your digestion and in your belly, and whether it's bloating or whether you have acid reflux. I'm hoping that you get the tools that you need. Now, just a little caveat there, gut health can take a really long time for some people. It depends on where you are, and it depends on why this is happening. If you're coming from a standard American diet and you have some gas and bloating and that's it, and you don't really have any other major complaints, then just following the meal plans and kind of absorbing the information that is in this group, you might feel amazing, and that's the only step you ever needed to take. Someone else that maybe is struggling with a chronic disease and they're fatigued all the time, and maybe they have a nutrient deficiency, maybe they have an autoimmune condition, something like that, they might need to get some of the optional testing where we screen for what are the actual food sensitivities that you have, because things like, you know, blueberries are considered healthy may not be right for your particular body at this time. They may actually be causing inflammation. So it's going to be different for every person. The stool test, we'll talk about this later, but the stool test as well gives us tons of insight. So it just kind of depends on who you are, but the ultimate goal is that after 8 weeks, if you haven't achieved your goal, you at least have the tools to continue moving on. The next thing I want to talk about is break free from food addiction. So when you change your diet, then you end up releasing things like cravings and sugar addiction and this negative mentality around food controlling your life. And so that's one thing I like to work with people on, and I hope by the end of this, you have a new relationship, a better relationship, hopefully, with the food that you're eating, because I really want people to start viewing it as it's helpful for you. This food is information for my body. So is this good information or is this bad information? This food is going to tell my cells how to react. It's going to tell my DNA what to do. So is it good information or is it bad information? So just changing our mentality around what we're putting in our mouth. And it's really empowering to know that we have an incredible amount of control into how our body expresses itself, whether it expresses itself in a healthy way or if it ends up expressing itself in disease. And 90% of that, most of the time, can be tremendously helped and influenced by what we put in our mouth. So we want to kind of get into that mentality where we actually have a lot more control than we've been raised to believe, and kind of breaking that mentality that food controls us, but we actually control what we eat. And then by the end of the week, I've mentioned this several times, 8 weeks, I want to make sure you have the confidence and information you need to move forward. Whether that is simply that you have made the changes that you need and you now have the resources to go find awesome meals anytime you want to cook something new and different and variety for your family, or if that is, I'm not quite at the place that I want and I'm going to dig further into testing and figuring out, at least you'll have the tools and the information to move forward. So a couple things I want to talk about doing kind of almost like as homework right now. I want everybody, when we get off this call, either today or tomorrow, I want you to go through your kitchen, okay? So anything, I want you to identify any foods that are natural temptation to you. If there's any food that you currently have in your home that just calls your name if it's sitting out on the counter, and if you look at it, you're going to eat 5 of them, those are the foods that you want to throw away. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Normally when we do any sort of nutritional change, it takes anywhere from like 1 to 2 weeks to get through the withdrawal period, okay? And some foods that we may be eliminating, like sugar and wheat and maybe some caffeine for some of you, things like that, can cause headaches and withdrawal symptoms that are kind of uncomfortable. You might even see some mood swings, some fatigue, some things like that where you're like, oh, this food, like I was dependent on this. And that's really a sign that, you know, it's not something that should be in the diet anyway. We want our bodies to function well without those things. So anything that kind of has an addictive hold on you, those are the things you want to throw away, out of sight, out of mind. So off the top of my head, the recommendations there that are listed: cereal, bread, pasta, cookies, chips, ice cream, anything that comes in a box really that's considered processed food, anything that has sugar, wheat, gluten, things like that. Those are the kinds of things I would say, go through your pantry, throw them away. You don't want to be exposed to them. And honestly, if you're doing this for yourself and you learn more about your food and how your body works, you don't really want to be providing that for your family either. So those are just things that you want to ditch, and you want to start working through what things are beneficial and keep those. And then and we can, of course, talk about crushing cravers, and we can talk about snacks, and we can talk about desserts and all these sorts of things. So trust me, I'm not going to let you be miserable for 8 weeks. We're going to have good food. But on that topic, I know a lot of people struggle with the family stuff, and that can be really, really hard. I've had a lot of pushback from a lot of people about husbands and children, and you just don't understand my situation and all that kind of fun stuff. And it makes me sad when I hear that, because I have such an incredibly supportive family, and I'm very, very blessed. But I always encourage those people when they come to me to talk to their family, because I always go, well, did you actually sit your husband down and have a discussion with him? Or are you just like assuming that he's not going to do this with you because like that's, an assumption that you've made for whatever reason. So if there is somebody in your house that you think may not be on board, I would just have a candid conversation with them. Make sure you sit them down and say, hey, honey, I really love you. This is something that's really important for me. And this is why. Like, explain your goal. Explain, I'm struggling with this. I think this is going to help me. I want to do this. This is a short duration of time. So if possible, would you be willing for this short duration of time to try it with me? Because the thing is, if you can get anybody to try something with you for a period of time long enough that they see results, they're more likely to then support you and continue to support you afterwards. If they don't jump on board at all, it might be more of a struggle. But if you can get them to do 1 to 2 weeks, and maybe they lose a little weight, maybe they get a little bit better sleep, maybe they have a little more energy, maybe their sinus infection goes away, or their drainage, or whatever it is, maybe their belly fat just disappears overnight, then they're more likely to join you. I had one woman sit down with me at the gym, actually. She met me for a gym consultation. She sat down with me, and really, instead of working out, we talked about nutrition, because that's what she wanted to talk about. And so we did for like an hour. We were sitting there talking about nutrition. She left. She implemented everything I said that day. She took it home to her boyfriend. He implemented it that day. Within 2 weeks, he had lost 20 pounds. So do you think that he was going to be more supportive of her after that? Yes. They lost a tremendous amount of weight. He, I think, ended up losing about 30 pounds, and she lost about 20 to 25 pounds within the course of about a month. And this is just because they were dedicated, they were committed, they had each other's support. And I'm not saying that you can't do it without support, but it's just so much easier if you can get people on board. And I think sometimes we make assumptions that aren't true. Your husband or your family or your mom or whoever it is that's, kind of giving you a hard time, if they really love you, I mean, they married you, or, they're your family or your parent or whoever they are, or you're even friends sometimes are snarky about stuff. But if you really sit down with them and say, hey, this is what I'm doing and this is why, most of the time, people are going to be okay. Whether or not they join you, they'll support you. So try to get that, just because I want you to have the support throughout the 8 weeks. That just makes life so much easier. And then throughout that too, promise them to make it fun and find meals they love. So if husband is like, I will never do this because I can't eat pasta ever again, be like, honey, I'm going to figure out a pasta recipe that you love. Okay, I promise we can do it. That's my new goal. That's my adventure. That's like the mission. Okay? And then every Monday night, we're going to have a different pasta recipe until we figure out one that you like, or, whatever it is. Okay? So get them on board, make it fun, make it exciting. All right. So on that note, we're going to talk about mentality real quick. We talked about this earlier in the week in the Facebook group. But our commitment needs to be as big or bigger than our goals, right? So we think about this like in terms of relationships or friendships or marriages. We're not just going to quit when it gets hard, but for whatever reason, when it comes to us, when it comes to things that we do for ourselves, it's so easy for us to quit as soon as it gets hard. And we say, not worth it. This is too stressful for me. But if it was like, your husband or your relationship with your mom, you'd say, this is hard, but it's worth it. I need to get through this, right? So take this as something for yourself, and really, really, I want you to get in the mental place that this will be hard at some point. Might not seem it yet, but in weeks 3 and 4, something's going to hit. Your kid's going to get sick, or something's going to happen at work, or you're just flat out going to be tired and you're not going to want to make a good dinner, things like that. So get in the mentality that it's not an option, okay? So have your negotiables and your non-negotiables. So for example, My non-negotiable is that I'm always gluten-free 100% of the time. Doesn't matter how tired I am. Doesn't matter where I am in the world. Doesn't matter who I'm visiting. It doesn't matter who I'm around. It doesn't matter what situation I'm in. If I'm at church, if I'm at my house, at my cousin's, it doesn't matter. I will always plan ahead enough that I don't have to make a decision that I'm going to regret. So know what your negotiables and non-negotiables are. So if your kid does get sick, or you do have to go out to eat, or you're at somebody's house or whatever, know what you're willing to compromise on and what you're not willing to compromise on. So for example, when we're out to eat, sometimes I'll have like a gluten-free dessert. Is that full of a ton of sugar? Yes, it is. Do I have that every night? Absolutely not. Do I have sugar in my house? No, I do not. But is it a special treat on an anniversary? Yeah. Okay. Or if somebody's really kind and says, hey, I made you this, gluten-free da-da-da, are you going to say no to that? No. So just kind of figure out the ways that you want to incorporate it into your life. What is negotiable? What's non-negotiable to you? And if there is somebody that's really pushy, again, just sit them down and be like, hey, I can't eat this, and this is why. It's not because I don't love you. And, Aunt Sue, I know that you really want me to eat your pineapple upside down cake, but I can't because it hurts my stomach, or, whatever it is that ends up, you finding out how this food works for you. And when you honestly tell somebody, hey, this gives me a headache, or it makes me really tired, or whatever, like I said, whatever the symptom is for you, because it shows up differently for everybody, 9 times out of 10, people are going to understand. They'll be like, oh, I just didn't know. Okay. And they move on. And there's always polite ways to do it too. You can say, thank you very much, and then just like not eat it in front of them. There's all different ways to handle it, but it all comes down to making a decision, making a commitment, and then, having your negotiables and non-negotiables and kind of thinking through how you're going to navigate those situations. Because 8 weeks is a really long time. And the goal for the 8 weeks really is that this is step 1. It's not the end, that this is just sort of your introduction. You get 8 weeks of support. This is like you're still in the nest, and I'm your mama bird, and I'm training you how to fly. And then at the 8 weeks, you don't die. You get pushed out of the tree. You have to fly on your own. Okay? That's the goal for the 8 weeks, is that you can fly on your own. All right. And then, you decide today that moods, energy, life, kids, family, and stress will not keep you from showing up for yourself. So I had a question about maybe following or not following the program 100%. So I want to clarify that really quickly. Everything that I give you in terms of the meal guide and the meal suggested meal plans for each week and the shopping list, those are all suggestions or guidelines, okay? It's for those people that really need, give me what to do. I want to have success. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. This is easy. I can make breakfast, lunch, and dinner because I have a plan, and there's a lot of people that need that. And then after that, they can kind of figure it out on their own as they go through and get used to the new way of eating. But if you're someone that needs a little more flexibility in your life, that's okay. And here are the guidelines to do that. So if you're going to kind of mix and match a little bit with your own life, the things I want you to focus on, and we'll kind of talk about this more throughout the program, but the things I want you to focus on is gluten-free, dairy-free, legume-free, and sugar-free. Okay, the reasons that these are the top 4 things that I want you to think about is because for a lot of people, particularly people with autoimmune conditions and gut health problems, these are common inflammatory foods that cause distress, cause bloating, cause inflammation and damage in the gut lining like we talked about. They cause fatigue. They cause all of the things that are happening that are the motivation for you to be in this group. So not everybody in this group is going to have a sensitivity or the same response to each of these foods, but the goal is to eliminate them, to figure that out. So for example, I just had some grain-free crackers with a little bit of goat cheese, okay? Not everybody can handle goat cheese, but that falls within dairy, and that would be a better choice than cow's milk, right? And we'll talk about that later. But not everybody can even handle goat cheese. So to start with, you want to eliminate certain things that are common inflammatory substances for a lot of people that we know are common, and then go from there. So then you have the foundation and you can experiment with it later. But if you're doing this on your own, because like I said, the meal plans and the meal guides and the suggested meals, they already are free of all of this stuff. So you don't have to think about it. So if you're doing it on your own, these are the things you want to think about. And then the other goal is to incorporate about 4 cups of vegetables a day. Okay, so in the meal plan, you're going to notice a crap ton of vegetables. You're blending up smoothies in the morning. You're having salads for lunch. You're having maybe a vegetable with dinner. Maybe your dinner is a vegetable with a little bit of meat. So you want to really prioritize vegetables. Okay, so there's so many reasons for this, but micronutrients and fiber are a couple major reasons you want to incorporate them. So you can do this in a lot of different ways. You can make like one huge batch of vegetables and just get like a cup and put it, you know, next to every single meal, you know, however you want to do that. But what I recommend is that you do like, you meal prep maybe on the weekends, like 3 or 4 different types of vegetables. So maybe you have like some roasted asparagus, maybe you have some roasted Brussels sprouts, maybe you have some steamed broccoli, and then maybe you have some onion with bell pepper cooked in grass-fed butter. And then all of those things are made, you have lots of each, they're undercooked slightly, they're kept in the refrigerator, so anytime you need a vegetable throughout the week, you can pull that out and add it as a side. Okay, so that's just one way to do it. But I want you to prioritize vegetables and a variety as much as you can. And then meal prep. Okay, so I know a lot of you in this group are busy. So if you're following the meal plan, again, the meal plan is there simply to make it easy for you. It's not that you have to do it 100%. It's not that you're a bad person if you don't follow it. It's just there to make it easy for you. So if you are following it, you'll notice that the breakfasts really only take like 1 to 5 minutes to prepare. So you're either blending something up in a smoothie, and by the way, another caveat here is you can add to these breakfasts in the meal plan. So if that's not enough for you, add some eggs, add some fruit, add whatever you want in within the guidelines, but you'll notice that the breakfasts are a lot of times like blend up a smoothie, okay? That takes like 2 minutes. And that's something you can take on the go. The other thing is, you know, we have like that warm chia pudding that's really, really good. That actually, it might look like it literally takes like 3 to 5 minutes on the top of the stove. So it's not much time at all. And then lunches, there's a lot of salads or leftovers maybe. You incorporate leftovers from the night before. So again, you can pack your salad the night before. If there's dressing that you want, keep it on the side so it doesn't get wet. If it's leftovers, you can pack that the night before. So breakfast and lunch really should not be an issue even for people that are busy. For dinner, most of the dinners should be fairly easy to make. Just look ahead. So here are a couple tips on the dinner. You can usually or often turn them into like a crock pot meal or an Instapot meal if you need to. So they may not be written that way, but you can kind of figure that out and maybe add a little bit more liquid if you're doing it in the Instapot, you know, that sort of thing. So feel free to make those changes. The other thing with dinner would be if you're looking ahead and you're like, oh, that takes just a lot of chopping time, things like that. You can do a little meal prep on the weekend where you, you know, have certain vegetables chopped up, certain things kind of pre-done so it doesn't take as much time. And then just the only other caveat there is to make sure that whatever meat you may have at dinner time, if there's meat in the recipe, to make sure that that's thawed in plenty of time. But really, truly, the goal with this was not to make it hard. So hopefully, hopefully it's all pretty doable for you. Really quickly before we get done, we're about to wrap up and get into the questions section if anybody has questions. But I wanted to touch on optional upgrades. So everybody, again, I know everybody is coming from different lifestyles, different backgrounds, different reasons to be in this group. So I do offer optional upgrades within the program that are discounted because you're in this group. So the first one is food sensitivities testing. It's $335. That goes not to me, it goes directly to the lab. It tests for 170 different foods and chemicals. So common things that you might take like ibuprofen, you might be exposed to food dyes, things like that are in this test. It's incredibly helpful because like I touched on earlier, you're gonna be shown things that you never in a million years would have thought that you are sensitive to. For example, on mine was things like spinach, blueberries, and chicken. So things that I ate probably like almost literally every single day that were at the time causing or correlating with some inflammation in my body. So we will talk more about food sensitivities, why they're there, are they permanent, where do they come from, but it is an incredibly helpful test, especially if you're not seeing the results that you want just from making a couple dietary changes. So that's really, really helpful. The stool testing is just incredibly helpful. The one I offer is called a GI map, and I just want to explain the pricing here really quickly. The $75 is to order the test. The $179 or $359. The $359 is out of pocket. The $179 is to submit to insurance. So there's a little bit of a difference there. But this one you can submit to insurance, which is pretty nice. And it covers, it's a pathogen screening. So the reason this is incredibly helpful is because if you have things like parasites, bacteria, yeast, or fungi in your gut system wreaking havoc and in an imbalance, maybe one is overgrown or it's been there for a long time and it's overgrowing the good bacteria, or the parasite has been living there for a long time, or whatever it is, that can completely cause all of the symptoms of, it can contribute to autoimmunity. It can cause bloating. It can cause fatigue. It can cause bad breath. It can cause, it just depends on what it is and why it's there and how long it's been there. But it's an incredibly important thing to check out because it's an underlying cause. And when you have something that's an underlying cause, if you're doing all these things right, like eating right and sleeping well and stress relief, but you aren't actually addressing the underlying cause, you're not going to see the results you want. So for me, this was incredibly helpful. For a lot of my clients, it's incredibly helpful. It's like that last key. It's like unlocking the world of possibility when you figure out what's actually going on in your gut. This particular test is also really nice because it does have some autoimmunity markers and immune system markers. So you can really see, like, where is your gut? Is your immune system reactive? Is it not reactive? Is it suppressed? It just gives a ton of information. So it's very, very helpful and eye-opening. And then again, the stuff that you find on that test has to be targeted specifically. So it's not something that you're going to be able to address with food. So that's very helpful. And then with either test, you can get one or both. Comes with the discounted coaching session with me. So instead of buying a big package where I'm going to coach you over the course of 3 months, because you're in the group for 8 weeks and you've already made an investment in yourself, I do discount the coaching. So you're saving about $700 or $800 by being in this group. And that discounted coaching session is $325. So I do offer that for anybody that wants that additional upgrade. And just let me know, whoever wants to check that out. And then one last thing before we get to questions, group participation in the Facebook group. So the reason we have this group is, so I can provide live videos, so I can interact with you, so you guys can ask me your questions. But it's also for support. So if you have a question, probably somebody else has a question as well. And so I'm going to kind of facilitate through this group through a few different ways. I'm going to try to post 1, maybe 2 live videos a week. It kind of depends on the topics that we're covering in the ebooks, because what I'm going to do in the live videos is kind of go into those a little bit more. And then I'm also going to be posting in the Facebook group things like additional recipes, motivational quotes for you. But I'm also going to be posting things where I would like interaction, things like where I ask questions like, what are you struggling with this week? What is maybe a triumph or some benefit that you've seen from incorporating this week? So that's a safe place that we can kind of share, this is my triumph, or this is something I've really been struggling with and I don't know why. And the reason I want you to share those things is so that we can help you. And the reason the Facebook group is there is for support. And most likely, again, if you're struggling with something, someone else is too. I'll also have the question and answer session in there. So if you have just some totally random question about a food or about something you heard or something we're covering, you can post it there and I will answer them once a week in the group. And then I'm going to try to post things just informational for you as well. So things about nutrients or a highlight of an ingredient that you might not know about or the benefits of it, fun stuff like that. And then I'm going to try to share challenges of some sort once a week. So that may be something like create your own recipe. It might be post a picture of your favorite recipe. It might be to post in your on your Facebook wall what you're doing in the group. It just kind of depends on what we're going to do during the week. But I'm going to try to do some sort of challenge once a week, and that way we can kind of stay together and stay active and keep it interesting. So do you guys have any questions for me? Everybody's muted. I can't hear anybody. Oh, that's funny. I got a little. Okay, that's okay. All right, no questions. Nobody has any questions? I'm going to unmute because I can't even hear background noise right now. It's so quiet. All right, awesome. So I hope that this is exciting for you. I hope you're still raring to go. I hope I've given you enough information that the first week isn't going to be too overwhelming, that you're going to be able to, kind of modify it per your own lifestyle and what you need. And as usual, if you guys have any questions, let me know. But you guys are going to receive your first ebook tomorrow at 9 a.m. So print that out, and good luck with week 1.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, you guys. Thanks for hopping on with me. I appreciate it.